welcome back to the Overwatch Pacific Championship English broadcast. I'm AVRL, with me is Smite as we get ready for the final game of Week 5, day number 3. We've had Sun Sister back-to-back, Flash Wolves have played as well, Fireball have had a back-to-back, and now finally Machi Esports versus AHQ Esports in what is going to be a pretty big test for both sides. And let's take a look at Machi first as they pop up on screen. And what can you tell me about this team so far?
Machi, they came into the round 2 of this round robin with a lot of surprises, taking down the Flash Wolves themselves. The Flash Wolves, they've said that they've gone away after that loss and learned a lot. Now Machi, they've got to come in and they've got to take that momentum because they're coming up against AHQ, who right now are number 2 on the table. And they've beaten Blank already, whereas Machi fell 1-3.
Make sure you get your swag and your lit in because you got one on each shoulder if you're a Machi player. You're going to need both the swag and the lit and the full force of it against AHQ Esports, who have looked so good ever since their victory against Blank. No, it wasn't a 3-0 that Flash Wolves provided, but still a clean, hard-fought victory. Superstars on the team as well. This is not an easy game for Machi. If Machi already struggled against Blank, they're now playing against the team that beat Blank.
And this is also a team that has Dizzy. And Dizzy has been such a great cornerstone of the team, but it's not like some of the other teams who rely on certain DPS players, for example, Sun Sister and XQQ, nothing like that. You kill Dizzy, the rest of AHQ still stay strong and they still manage to win fights despite losing their star DPS player.
期待我们今晚跟 HQ 打出一场精彩的比赛，谢谢。
The two coaches as well.
那最近因为是马奇都新生代选手嘛，那你们的个人能力其实大家有目共睹。那我们就一起打好一场漂亮的比赛。
And both coaches just wishing each other luck, and specifically Nito from AHQ saying as well, you guys have really looked impressive, so I'm really hoping for a good match between the two teams.
好了，那我们就把时间交给我们的分析台喽，谢谢。
And I hope so as well. I really hope for Machi's sake they show yet another leap in improvement, and for AHQ, I'm kind of banking on them to win this. So for AHQ, if they want to continue being at least on par with the level that Blank are playing on, this needs to be a win for AHQ to stay there.
At the same time though, if you're Machi, you cannot look at a 3-0 here, unless you're the one with the 3, right? You can't lose, you can't not take a single map against AHQ because that's all of your momentum gone that you had last week when you beat Flash Wolves. You've continued the trend, you've even taken a map off of Blank, but up against AHQ, you need to take at the very least 1. You can be okay with that result. If you take 2, then okay, you can be content. But really, winning the series, it should be Machi's goal right now because we're still moving through the tournament. We're quite far through now, actually, almost halfway, in fact. And Machi need to start marching on up the ladder right now because even though we're calling them the de facto 4th place team because they've been looking better than Hong Kong Attitude, they're still sitting in 5th and they still need to start getting points to make up for how they performed in the first round.
Yeah, absolutely. In the first round robin, they are quite lackluster, coming in 6th place, even behind Fireball, if I'm not mistaken. So they have started that catch-up phase, but you're right. The losses from the first round robin are still weighing them down. It's a weight that they've got still attached to their ankle. They've got to cut it off, and a win against AHQ would absolutely be contribution. It would still only be 1 win, but it would be certainly a win that is way better than a loss, obviously. But I mean, a loss would just mean another step down and another weight added to their current loss record. They will go against them coming time to really contend for that 3rd place spot if they want to try and make playoffs.
I mean, you talk about it being, sure, it's only 1 win, but you combine that with the fact that they also got a win that wasn't expected for them against Flash Wolves.
It was a win they weren't meant to get,
exactly.
Right?
You combine those two together and suddenly that's a huge jump on the ladder. They were in 6th place. If they get this win here, they still have to play Hong Kong Attitude, which will not only push Machi up the table a little bit more, but also push Hong Kong Attitude down, securing them the 4th place spot, and then also setting themselves up to challenge that top 3, because if they can beat Flash Wolves and then let's say they win against AHQ, that means they can do it in the future, and that will absolutely let them contest to get into the top 3, and then maybe even start taking on Blank, who's sitting at the top. I mean, if they can beat Flash Wolves,
They already got a map off Blank, so it's a good
Exactly.
start. It is a very good start for Machi. And one map win, possibly in future, maybe Machi can make that a 2-map win against Blank. And who knows, as 2 Taiwanese have done before them, Blank at this stage are no longer completely invincible. They are wounded. And while they are wounded, Machi, it may be their time to strike, but we'll have to find that out next round robin, because currently, before they come up against Blank again, they got to get past AHQ. We're going to start with Kant, known as Kiyomi, DCL, and No Talk, and Restia. And of course for AHQ Esports Club as well, Calman, Dizzy, Eric, and Lazy Titan carries, and Crappy still running carries in the support position over Eddie Boss. Lazy Titan, one of the best, if not the best, D.Va players in the entire competition. Now, when you look at the other side for Machi, Kiyomi was specifically the Ana player that Sinclair pointed out as one of the best in the competition.
which is quite a lot of respect coming from the Flash Wolves as well. I mean, you have to say that against the team that did end up beating you. But, I mean, look at the players here. You've got Kant as well, a bit of a flexible player. Has most recently, I'd say. Oh, yeah, I could say that. Most recently, probably seen him on the Tracer a lot.
Yes,
you can see Roadhog and D.Va in there, but expect him to be on the Tracer.
Absolutely the Tracer player. Now, Kiyomi, of course, the player specifically mentioned by Sinclair as the Ana player to watch out for in the competition, and I think he has done a fairly superb job so far. We've actually seen a little bit of Soldier come out on Kiyomi, just a tad, but I think, of course, still, it has been the Ana that he's most well known for. Restia as well, onto the Lucio, a little bit of Torbjorn thrown into the mix that we did catch a glimpse of, particularly on the defenses, mostly on, I would say, Hanamura coming out, and no talk on the D.Va.
No talk.
You quite like your Divas.
I do like my D.Va players. I usually have a lot to say about them.
Yeah, I like the hero. That's what I like.
Oh yeah, D.Va's cool. I'm a big fan.
Anyway, yes.
Big fan of her stream when I watch. But D.Va, no talk. He's done an acceptable job as D.Va. Like
it's just acceptable. I'm not impressed, but it's acceptable.
It's acceptable. Like, he hasn't stood out like a lot of the other ones, specifically Lazy Titan, who you said, and I would agree with, is the best D.Va in the OPC right now.
Kalman, of course, just passing by as the DBS counterpart to, of course, Dizzy. He's been a man on fire, man possessed, one of the best soldiers, specifically on the soldier role. And there he is, Lazy Titan.
Always looking after Dizzy as well. And, when he's not looking after Dizzy, when Dizzy says, oh, I've got a moment where I'm probably good by myself, Lazy Titan, he says, all right, cool,
what I particularly enjoy is the banter between Lazy Titan and Kalman, and thankfully they don't sit next to each other, because those two really got something going on as well, because Kalman in a previous interview says, no, I'm definitely better than Lazy Titan. I play better than that guy. That's Crappy as well. I think Crappy might be the main shot caller for this team, if not the captain. I thought Eddie Boss was the captain. I think Crappy at this stage might actually end up being the captain. He's the core Lucio player who's always been there.
It would make a lot of sense to have Crappy as the main shot caller as well. Lucio, I mean, even just down to when you speed boost, can decide when you start engaging fights, what to do, and it's not as mechanically demanding as a whole lot of the other heroes. Like, you're not splitting the focus of your soldier who's training to get kills using that tunnel vision, but also still, trying to say, oh, guys, maybe we should ult now. Like, you don't want to do that. Putting on a Lucio, great idea, and also because he's the guy that plays Torbjorn as well, then not a hugely demanding character again, maybe a little bit more than Lucio, because Torbjorn does actually do some damage. You need to put that in there too.
Here's the thing, looking at AHQ, you have Dizzy, who was the main, I would say, problem for Blank. In the Blank AHQ series, Dizzy, I have to confidently say, was the number one, definitely the biggest problem for Blank to overcome, but they couldn't successfully shut down Dizzy. Now, when you look at, I want to make the comparison to Flash Wolves, the other team that beat Blank, is Zondra is essentially in Dizzy's position. They're both soldier players. Zondra is a very proficient soldier player, but when you look at what just happened against Fireball, I know it's maybe not the best example, but it's the most recent example. It may just be the way that Flash Wolves played, which was very confident, but Zonda was picked out a lot. Zonda died a lot. Now, when you look at a player like Dizzy, you don't see that from Dizzy. Dizzy is so well protected to start with, but he plays super safe as well. If Zonda plays quite risky, quite high risk, high reward, Dizzy is the opposite.
Dizzy pretty conservative, and a lot of that does come down to just how his team forms around him as well. Quite often on defense, he'll just be sitting there, and you look to your left, there's Lazy Titan. You look to your right, there's his Ana. They're all there protecting him. Maybe one of them's not there on the ground somewhere, but he's always got someone there with him. He's always demanding that someone has to go up and deal with him, and that is made so difficult when Lazy Titan's always there. And if he's not there, he's one shift away to getting up there.
And Lazy Titan seems to be omnipresent. He's everywhere. He's the protecting Dizzy when he needs to be, and he's in your face and the other soldier's face when he needs to be as well. And it just seems like you can't play around the guy because, you know, always impactful no matter where he is on the map. And on top of that, the guy gets the most consistent self-destruct kills of any D.Va player in the entire tournament. Now, couple that with, I would say, is the single most consistent hit scan, at least on Soldier player. I don't want to speak to the other picks. Dizzy's got a good McCree, but I think Soldier's the main. Soldier is the #1 pick for him, and his Soldier, I would say, is definitely more consistent than Zonda's, more consistent than Atar's, perhaps more consistent than Eatup's, because you barely even see Eatup's to start with. So at this stage, Atar's playing more Soldier than Eatup, and he's absolutely more consistent than Atar. So Dizzy might just be the #1 Soldier in the competition, paired with the #1 D.Va in the competition.
And I think consistency is really what is going to keep Flash Wolves AHQ just ahead of a lot of the teams for the longest time over the tournament. I mean, not only is it a very long tournament, right, 13 weeks, but also the thing that sets really great teams apart from the ones that are only just, you know, pretty good is not how high their peak is, but how often they can play at their peak. And AHQ seem to be able to do that quite often. Now we're heading to Lijiang Tower.
Let's see where we peak. It's going to start onto Gardens. Both teams getting set up here as we move on out. Afara on each side as well. It will be Nonez versus Cowman. To no one's surprise, Dizzy playing the hit scan as well. Dizzy versus Kant on the ground. Cowman and Nonez in the sky.
It's going to be looking for not air shots, but shots on the ground.
And I like that. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, you want to win the fight on the ground. It doesn't matter. It's too inconsistent to go for air shots. Look at how many of these shots are actually missing. It's great when you hit 2 in a row, but look at how many you're just missing. Now, no team has really commanded any positioning. Yes, it's great to take these guys out of the sky, but if you don't win the fight on the ground, you won't win the point.
And consistently outputting damage on the ground is far more impactful than missing the majority of rockets in the sky. And AHQ slowly pulling ahead as No Talk falls off the side as well. Could have been a suicide as well. Could have been very likely a suicide. Now that Machi definitely look like they want to get off this point.
I mean, Nonez eventually won the battle in the sky, but the rest of his team just fell down on the ground, especially because Dizzy, he was the one to get the pulse bomb first and actually managed to get a kill with it. Now, Kant, he was only at 90%. Now he's going to come back into the next fight. Will have a pulse bomb, but Crappy, he's got the Resurrect ready to go, and he's pretty safe up in the sky. Pulse bomb's not going to find him up there, so it's a pretty big call to go for the pulse bomb when it could just be rezzed.
And both Faras are just finding opportunities to take pot shots at each other, but if they can also make sure the majority of the damage reaches the ground, which I think, again, is absolutely the correct way to play. They're just sort of forcing positioning out of each other as Machi slowly pull out ahead, and as Machi pull out ahead in the ground battle, Nonez can commit more to this aerial battle because he knows his team is winning on the ground. They're winning quite significantly. Now here comes the res for Machi as they pick up the tempo, and Crappy went down, so it was a well-timed res knowing that AHQ could not respond with one of their own.
As soon as they saw Crappy go down, that's the trigger for Machi to just go in with that res, just like you said. Now AHQ, they're still fighting for this, and it's a long fight, so Crappy will actually respawn and get into the fight. He can bring his members back, but Machi is starting to win this a little bit more one-sidedly, but there's the res! Actually managed to pick it up there, and the fight will continue. AHQ now the numbers swinging over into their favor. They might be getting a kill here and there, but it's Machi on the retreat. AHQ held the point for the majority of that, in fact the entirety of that, and that is huge.
And they still have not given it up. Joseph Crappy respawned and got back to the point just in time to keep his team alive, over 80%, and for everything Machi has done right and hasn't been right enough, they're still struggling to maintain any control over the capital server. They're not even 1% in their favor. And AHQ, I can't wait for self-destruct to come up from Lazy Titan because the man, he hits his targets.
Absolutely does, but I mean, if he doesn't hit Kiyomi, it doesn't matter because that res will still come out. They're going through the white room this time, but it's going to be Cowman. He's just laying the barrages into, well, not the actual barrage, but just constant rockets into the choke point there. Now, they finally take down Nonez.
Rez
There's
came
no
out.
contest in the sky, but the res just brings him straight back. Sound barrier's finally run out, though. AHQ should be able to clean this up. This is 99%. They can commit any ultimates that they need to. Lazy Titan is still holding on to his one, but the kills are coming out. Cowman finally taken out of the sky. AHQ actually starting to fall behind because Crappy, he died before he could even get his res. Machi, are they actually doing it? A big barrage will get enough kills. Crappy is flying back to the point, but he still doesn't have res, and this should be Machi taking the points.
Yeah, and I think AHQ need to concede this one now. They got a Primal Rage still with Eric. Primal Rage, if he can get out with his life, will be really big. No, actually getting the kill might mean a comeback, and not quite enough because Cowman immediately being shut down by Nonez before any of the rocket barrage damage can even come in, but I don't think AHQ really want to give this one up. You're right, crappy reses, and that's going to be the return for AHQ. I think they're getting just enough kills to stay in this one.
Just enough for Kiyomi. He's 63%. There's no way he was going to get towards his ult in that fight. Oh, that was an extended fight. That was an extended overtime, and that did not feel like a 99-0.
And the turnaround play was when Erikin actually got the kill during Primal Rage. I said maybe Erikin should leave with his life here, and that may have been the correct decision had that kill not come out. Getting that initial kill, getting the initial pickup gave Cowman enough space to come in. Yes, he got shut down straight away, but the res from Crappy, excellent timing, immediately presents AHQ another opportunity to get that retake. I say a retake, but they didn't even lose the point.
They
just
never lost the point.
They just lost members.
All right, moving into Control Center. This is
Roadhog
also
time, just as you heard.
This is also where we see teams swap up compositions a few times. Now,
It's
AHQ,
not Roadhog time.
It's not Roadhog time. Lazy Titan, too good on that Diva. Why would he swap off of it? Now, Machi, they're just sticking to that dive. Triple DPS. They've got Kiyomi on the Soldier. Need to keep him safe, and that's going to be pretty easy to do against a team that doesn't even have a Tracer. This is a big Deathball composition.
Wow, Dizzy
and
down fast.
they are just running circles around AHQ.
And this is the opening Machi needed. Machi are gonna have, I should assume they're gonna be able to get the cap. What was a 0% for them on Gardens is gonna turn into an early lead now onto Control Center. It's not gonna be a huge lead, not an insurmountable lead. As you can see, Eric Ken still maintaining control. This is Lazy Titan that we're talking about, able to pressure out Kiyomi, and it will be AHQ picking up kills on Nonez as well. Can Dizzy get anything done? He's in a bit of trouble. Gets the health play. Flashbang not ready just yet. Needs to run back to his team, and they need to pick up a few more kills too.
And they're moving forward onto the point, actually, just forcing Machi to come in and deal with him. But can't, he finds Dizzy. That was the biggest damage threat. Or was it? Because now that you've got a nano-boosted Zarya, Cowman doing a ridiculous amount of damage. You're right, he's just high up there in the energy as well, picking up kills left, right, and center. And Machi, during all of this, they've held onto the point, but AHQ, shortly they've got enough kills. Also, all of this damage done during the nano-boost is charging up that Graviton.
Which is really important. A lot of people, you got to remember, nano boost is a really great charge. You can do so much damage. You burn through HP on the other side. You will get your ultimates up. And Cowman now sitting on 90%. They're getting ready for the base hold. This is all a great setup. You got Erica and shields up right in the front. Cowman Graviton Surge ready to go as well, including a Lazy Titan Diva self-destruct. Everything should work in their favor. Now comes the Graviton Surge and the self-destruct coming in as well. Are they going to get any kills? They do pick up one, and it will be enough because it's 3 already. Make it 4. And Machi gets sent back to the base.
Committing a sound barrier as well towards that, holding on to the Transcendence, thank goodness. So they do still have something to come back into this with, but so much else was used during that. Dizzy still sitting back with his own Deadeye. Not the great assault on its own, but with a nano boost that can get a few surprise kills. There's no Diva to eat that up. You're really relying on the barrier.
He's coming out. I would expect to come out. He's waiting for the Transcendence. Transcendence does end, but he does not catch. No talk. In fact, they're going to get everybody else, so it's probably okay. Regardless, the nano boost a little bit average, but it does keep Erikin alive and healthy. Dizzy looking for a few stragglers on the end, trying to get themselves back to base. And Machi, tails between their legs once again, unable to break through AHQ and still holding on to the Deadeye.
And still an ultimate trade as well. Sure, Earthshatter didn't find anything. They still won the fight, and No-Talk actually used the Transcendence in there. Dizzy finds a kill onto Kant at the start of this fight, and with a Deadeye, surely this should be enough to zone him off, but he's still holding on to it, and so he should with 2 picks. AHQ just winning this. And another one.
And another. I will have one more, sir, and also my axe. Machi, 4 members alive, make it 5. They're finally able to get the respawns, but look at the progress. 85%, 15% left to go. If Machi don't want to push now, they're not even going to make it to the cap in time.
Look at the positioning on Dizzy as well. He's hiding around one of the other flank parts where someone is going to come through to try and contest the point at the very last second. Now they're falling back to the point. They've actually given away a lot of ground, but the Deadeye's out here. Look at all those red skulls. The deflect was up, but he finally gets a kill onto Nonez. The nano boost is still just going to be there. Pulse Bomb does find a kill onto Keres. It's 1-all in the Graviton. It's got to get value here. He picks up a few kills, but who's onto Kiyomi? And of course it's Lazy Titan finding that defense matrix, keeping him out of the fight, and AHQ wiped the floor with Machi capping the point on Control Center.
Massive cleanups from AHQ, from all members, and beautiful setups as well. Like I said, a really calculated team. They know how to set up these plays. Put your nano boost onto Cowman. He's nearly onto Grav. He gets it to about 90% ult charge. Now it's time to push forward. Erikin shields up right at the front door. Guess what? Lazy Titan also has a self-destruct. This was so calculated. They got the combo effectively ready, and Machi played directly into it. Gave away a sound barrier. That's not going to work against a Diva Bomb.
Machi were also the first team to ult as well, and that just set it up perfectly.
That's even
AHQ.
better. Then it's like, wow, thank you very much for that. I will take that and all of your members.
Yeah, I mean, we were going to kill you anyway, but thanks for using your ults anyway. So AHQ, one more point to go. It's not looking great for Machi, finding it very hard to contest. They did win the first fight on Control Center, but all about that diving DPS, finding the first kill.
And first kill found, Kiyomi goes down, not playing Soldier anymore. You're just on Zenyatta, not quite as tanky, not quite as mobile, no self-healing. AHQ, they lose one of their own, but all the position is in their favor. Look at this, already controlling the doors. Machi already stuck and unable to break themselves out. And finally, HQ, if they want to cap the point, they do actually need to back off. During that time, No Talk able to find a pickup from the Keres. This is going to be the turnaround. This is a pretty big turnaround.
They actually got in there to contest as well. Just at the very last second, it's going to buy them a few percentage points away from AHQ. So pretty good turnaround. That was all just based on the fact that Machi, I mean, funnily enough, they'd lost one person first, which means they got the respawns earlier on, and AHQ, they didn't respect it.
AHQ held the doors, which is fine, but when the cap opens up, they completely gave up the door hold to go and get the cap, and as they did that, as they were retreating to the point, Machi took advantage, and they, you know, give an inch, they'll take a mile. Now they want a little bit more. 2-3 ultimates make it 4 online, up and ready to go. Pulse Bomb flies out, doesn't catch anybody. Transcendence as well. Machi really want to win this one. Blocks out the Dragon Blade from Cowman. Get themselves a kill onto Keres as well. And so far, this is looking great for Machi, and it's about to look a little bit better.
Dizzy, what are you going to do? Throwing out a Pulse Bomb. Once again, what is that actually going to get you? Unfortunately, now they're not going to have this ultimate for the next fight. And Machi, they've already passed the 40% mark, and, well, they used only defensive ultimates during that fight just to survive. Maybe there was a Pulse Bomb in there, but it doesn't matter because Cat is well on his way to his next one. Now they've got a Dragon Blade to work with. Sure, no Nano Boost, but that's okay. They can go in there, still kill the squishies in the back line, especially Keres.
Here we go. Speaking of killing squishies, Erikin finds a target. Kiyomi has been the sacrificial lamb of Machi so far. Nones will rejoin him in the respawn room as well. And AHQ are on their way into the recap, and this is tough because AHQ never capped to start with, and Machi have an absolutely huge lead despite this losing fight for Machi, which, by the way, they're still not giving up on. A self-destruct will come out, won't pick up any kills, and it will be Machi continuing to commit ultimates.
I like the Primal Rage, but I'm not so sure about the other ones here. Just to buy a few more percentage.
They're feeding so hard now.
They might be feeding, but they're setting up the point. It's at 88%, 90%. That means that if they can win one more fight, they'll essentially win the stage off of that, or at the very least force AHQ into desperation mode. Now the question is, how do they get to the stage where they can retake?
Yes.
They used a lot of ults during that.
Which is the problem. The problem with the feed is you've now fed AHQ a ton of ultimates. Not only that, but we've discussed this previously. We said 80% is roughly the mark where when you win a fight, you are likely to win the entire point. Getting to 90 realistically isn't that much of a difference in 80, so I don't know if this is going to be big, but what is big? Lazy Titan, once again, he does not disappoint. A Dragon Blade to clean up things as well, and Machi, this isn't going to be the fight where they come back. They're going to need to recalculate, reassess, back to the drawing board one more time.
Well, they used the sound barrier during that, which got absolutely no value out of it, but they did force out a Dragon Blade and Lazy Titan's infamous self-destruct. So, They're slowly getting there. They're slowly getting there, but they do need a sound barrier on that final push where they do try and take the point back. If Kant can get a good value pulse bomb here, that could set them up to go and just force out too many ultimates from AHQ and come back in. If not, flat out just win the fight.
Well,
this is going to be big.
I love me a good value pulse bomb. You know me, I can't turn down a bargain. And AHQ, they still got plenty of ults to play with as well. And I think for Machi, they want to take this one a little bit slowly. Bait out a couple from AHQ, respond with a couple of good ones on their own. Like you said, value may be the key here. Value may be exactly something they need, but unfortunately, no value to be found. That was a complete loss. And Machi, one more time, not going to be able to take this. And AHQ slowly picking up the pace, slowly making their way to 90% themselves. And what was a great setup for Machi to get in one push, I'm no longer convinced they can get it in one push because it looks like AHQ are in full control.
Sitting at just under 90% and with their last member just respawning now, Nonez has to go absolutely ginormous with this Dragon Blade. He needs to find kill after kill after kill. The resets need to be huge. Here it comes, the Dragon Blade's been unleashed. He does find one kill but gets shut down by Cowman. The better Genji takes him down and AHQ should be able to secure this to get their third win here. The point's almost captured for Machi, but not close enough. The sound barrier is not going to save you here, fellas. Lazy Titan should be able to sell this out with one more self-destruct if he needs to. Machi actually caps it a little bit further. No Talk, his own self-destruct, finds a kill. Cat finding another kill. Are they doing it?
It's a couple of counter trades, but you know, the team that's actually getting desperate is not AHQ, it's actually Machi. They're spending everything, and I don't think they're getting enough in return whatsoever, getting a couple of megs, but realistically, no more members alive, and I gotta say, that 90% play, getting to 90% for Machi, still not worth it to me. You fed far too many ults onto AHQ without any sort of setup in return. Like I said, 80% is the point break. That's the mark where you're at a safe spot when you get another win. The difference between 80% and 91%, I don't think is significant enough to be giving away that kind of ult advantage to the other team. Now, I said before, control's a momentum-based map. This is why we see 99 zeros get completely counter-swept in 99 100s, because the team that has momentum control will dictate the pace of the game. And once AHQ had the point, they never lost it again. They had 100% tempo control over Machi, and Machi never got it back, which is why I don't think it's worth giving away that tempo.
They didn't even have to be too conservative with their ultimates either, because they won, well, like you said, they were fed so much ultimate charge during that. They had so much to work with. They could just throw out 2 ultimates per fight. And it didn't even really matter if Machi were committing 1 ult to 2. They were still so far behind that it was realistically going to take way too long for them to catch up or even get ahead. And so AHQ, they just sat in that position. And also, when the ults actually finally came out, AHQ were just winning the fights anyway.
Oh yeah, Cowman's massive shutdown as well. I mean, you pull out a Dragon Blade, all you find is another Dragon Blade from the other side into your face, and that's not fun at all. If you're Nonez in that situation, I mean, it's a real downer. I think that pretty much sets the tone for that one. And like I said, difference between 80% and 90% is just not worth it for that kind of tempo loss.
Well, that's going to be the first map gone for
3-0. And no, it's not like Machi just gave that one away. They kind of gave it away, but more specifically, Machi had a really tight series. It was a lot closer than the scoreline I think describes. You might agree with that. And Machi had not a disappointing performance. I think they were very competitive despite a 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, even way back on Gardens, where that was technically a 99-0, they fought back for a very, very long time. And, you know, it's really just AHQ forcing these fights out for so very long and actually doing what Machi tried to do on the very last point, but correctly, where they were holding on to the point, throwing out the Primal Rage, and not necessarily to buy time just to win off the next push, but to actually buy time for the respawns to come back in, and in fact, even go for a res. That's really what sold them on that fight. So, yeah. Like, even though that was a 99-0, Machi were still there fighting for a very, very long time. It was just, I'm going to say AHQ's tenacity in the length of that fight. I really got
to commend Machi for, and both teams really, for the setup plays, which for Machi is the case of Crappy is down. This means that Maya res is going to be super effective, and there's not going to be a counter res to essentially nullify all the advantage you're going to get out of your own res, and that was well played by Machi. They won a fight off that. They didn't secure the cap, unfortunately. And that comes down to them not being able to essentially finish off the remaining members of AHQ in time. And spawns were fast enough that AHQ managed to get back in. In fact, good enough that AHQ's own setup play was essentially in a situation where I thought this may be a safer option for them to back off. And arguably it could have been. Eric N's one kill kind of turned that around. And they would have said, like, they would have been able to plan it out and say, look, if we can hold for a little bit longer, doesn't matter if you guys die, Crappy's here with the res, this is still winnable. And identifying a losing situation, identifying how to turn that around into a winning situation is a mark of a very good team.
Got to agree, definitely got to agree, and it provides results as well. So even though we're talking about how tight it was of a series for Machi, even though it was 3-0, it's still a 3-0. It's still Flashwall, AHQ coming out so very much on top here. And
I think Control Center actually is where, as dominant as Gardens was, Control Center looked more dominant, in my opinion, for the very large amount of the game. Now even though Machi got the initial fight win, it is going to be Kings Row, which is AHQ's pick, but we'll get there in a second. Although it was the initial fight win for Machi, AHQ's response and subsequent ability to control pace of the game, again, like we said, the setup with the nano boost, straight into the Graviton Surge, straight into the self-destruct, building up Eric's Earth Shatter as well, and then into a Deadeye to cap it all off. They set the plan out and they executed their plan perfectly. They knew where the phases of the game was, and they knew exactly where they needed to be to make the things happen. Again, this is the mark of an extremely good team, that everything they do, there are no accidents. These are all choices made by the team, and effective, good, well-calculated choices.
well, calculated choices coming into Kings Row.
Yeah,
we've seen
it's
this.
a calculated pick.
Yeah, I'm sure. No,
Can't go wrong with Kings Row. They also beat Blank on this map.
That's pretty good reason to pick it up, right? I mean, Kings Row, it's popular for a reason, right? A lot of teams are confident on it. So even though half the teams must have been losing on it, right? Some of these teams are clearly quite proficient at it, I think.
Here's a tidbit, is another thing Zonda mentioned, was either Zonda or the two supporters mentioned it in a post-match interview, was the reason they in particular want to play Kings Row, and AHQ may have the same reason, is the amount of elevation and environmental control you can have on Kings Row versus some of the other maps really favor their playstyles. And when you look at the playstyles specifically for AHQ, it's the keep Dizzy alive show and he will kill everybody. And they're very good at that. They're very good at executing that strategy. Keep Dizzy alive, he deals out all the damage. Now Kings Row, multiple elevation where if you're a good enough team, you can control the elevation, keep your soldier on there infinitely, and you'll win. And this is exactly what AHQ do. And if Zonda and the rest of Flash Wolves think that's why you pick Kings Row, then I absolutely understand why AHQ go for it.
Definitely fits into their playstyle as well. I mean, AHQ, they'll keep Dizzy up there. Also, elevation-wise, Lazy Titan's going to be all over the show as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to allow him to contest pretty much any path that Machi are going to take to try and take Dizzy off of his perch, especially once they're on defense. It's going to be so hard to get rid of Dizzy. We've seen other teams try and do it. We've seen Blank try and do it. I mean, we've even seen Flash Wolves try and do it. And Dizzy, he's just always protected. And the team always knows when to commit a little bit more to their defense. They send up not just Lazy Titan, but they'll send up the Winston as well.
I think both the tanks on AHQ are very well calculated plays in regards to their roles. I think we've already spoken a lot about Lazy Titan, but Eric in particular, even coming in from week one, really impressed me, specifically on Winston. And now he's gone back onto the Reinhardt, but still, playing the shield composition, this is still within AHQ's comfort zone. This is still very much within AHQ's playstyle, and they, I believe, have somewhat mastered their playstyle now.
This does give a window, though, for Machi to come in and contest Dizzy up on the high ground. Go in, dive in with a few members, and, hope he's up there alone, because if he is, who's going to be able to get up there? Lazy Titan has to fly up to defend him, but everyone else is going to be on the ground.
This is a big move out from AHQ, and we do see that Lazy Titan was on the ground. He actually flew back. I think someone might have contested Dizzy, and rightfully so, because Dizzy actually took down No Talk. So really what that tells me is No Talk went for Dizzy in a situation where Lazy Titan wasn't even around, and Dizzy just won the 1v1 anyway. because we saw Lazy Titan on the ground. So he must have won the 1v1.
That's the other thing about Dizzy as well. He's quite often pretty happy to just look after himself, and he'll call for Lazy Titan if he needs him. He'll call him. He'll say, look, I need you up here right now. Otherwise, he's good. Quite often, he actually does hold these 1v1s. Yeah, of course, he's fantastic.
Oh boy, he is good.
Oh boy, oh boy. Now, AHQ, like you said, the shield-based composition, it's going to be great on the ground as well. Machi, they've got to decide, do we dive Dizzy? Do we dive this Force on the ground? Kant wants it. You can see him blinking around up there, but Lazy Titan, he's gone forward. This could be Kant's moment to go in and contest Dizzy.
It may be, and they're not going to rely on Erikin to get up there either. Kant will have to make his moment count, because so far, it's going to be Machi picking up Crappy. It's not really enough yet. I can't really see where Dizzy's gone anymore, but the high ground control has gone in the favor of Machi, as Machi look like they're getting the majority of the pickups here, and Dizzy included. This is not good for HQ at all.
The Nano Boost was also thrown out there, and it got pretty much nothing at all. And Machi, they've actually done it. They've managed to push on forwards. They may be able to tap the point here. Lazy Titan, he's still flying around in the background somewhere, but there goes his mech, and surely him soon to follow. Machi, they've taken the point, and they didn't even have to commit a huge amount of ultimates to do it. That's pretty clean by Machi, I've got to say.
Oh, absolutely, and if the plan for AHQ was keep Dizzy alive, I don't think they achieved that. I think they relied on Dizzy to keep himself alive. While he did do that, we did see Kant go up there to face him. Now, while Kant wasn't the one to actually kill Dizzy, if it had dislodged Dizzy, Lazy Titan was not at all in position to protect him. And as soon as Dizzy went down, so did the rest of AHQ, and now AHQ mount up.
Graviton Surge is ready, and the Dragon Blade does come out. In fact, so many ultimates are coming out. Sound Barrier to keep AHQ alive. Restia, he's staying on that payload, but Erican, he's actually found Nonez of all people. These shields are everywhere, and who's on Dizzy? Absolutely no one, because Kant takes a rocket to the face, and no one can contest him once more, and they push Machi back to the spawn.
Nonez was definitely a bit of a no-one in that fight, because, as you said, immediately charged up by Erican. Great movements from the team, great movements from AHQ. They may have lost the first cap, but they're not going to give away streets, not easily anyway. The position where AHQ are holding, this is where Fireball wanted to hold against both Sun Sister and Flash Wolves on King's Row. And AHQ, they're showing it how in some, they're not even holding the bookstore. They're holding in front of the bookstore at the archway itself. And Machi, they're looking for an opening, and I don't know if they can find one.
Well, they can't find it. I mean, Kant just died to a Helix rocket, essentially.
These books are ours. You gotta pay if you want in.
Yeah, you gotta come in with a library card. And Machi, well, they haven't applied in a very long time. They haven't renewed their library card. They're looking to come in again, but no DPS ult available unless No Talk gets a fantastic self-destruct. And that's enough. I mean, it takes down the Reinhardt. There's no shield anymore. And Archie are wasting no time. They're getting in there. At the very least, they're getting payload distance. But at the very most, they're getting a whole lot of kills as well. They're winning the fights. And this is going to take them almost to the end of the checkpoint.
Oh, this is a big reset for AHQ. And one self-destruct is all they needed. You almost got to consider, what if AHQ made the opposite move? If AHQ ran towards the self-destruct and passed it and into Machi, took a team fight, they would have completely dodged the self-destruct because they ran back, because they didn't consider how far the self-destruct exactly was going to fly. And Erican paid it with his life, and the rest of AHQ paid as well. The deck collectors, Machi, definitely came in with a big win, and Earth Shadow will not connect either.
Not well enough. The Transcendence kept Machi alive long enough to all get into position. Lazy Titan does find one self-destruct kill, but surely that's not enough. Machi capped the point, and they're pushing on forward. They're getting kill after kill. They find another one onto Keras, and this payload, it's going to be uncontested as it moves on forward. AHQ, they do have a Graviton Surge, but what have they got to combo it up with? A hammer?
Not a self-destruct, not a hammer, no Earth Shatter. You've got a tactical visor, and Dizzy has to find reasonably good positioning with this, and don't forget he's still playing into No Talk, so here comes the engage now from AHQ. Tac Visor not quite being used at Graviton to no effect, and the Sound Barrier going to be the response from, I believe, both teams, with a Pulse Bomb immediately deleting Dizzy off of the cap.
And this whole time, Machi have been making the payload go forward. Erican is just stuck there holding his shield up, but it's actually keeping his team alive, and that might be enough for them to turn around a few kills, because the respawn is right there for AHQ, and they will hold this fight, pushing Machi back.
It looks so dire for AHQ, but as you said, the respawn's coming in quickly enough. The reinforcements is exactly what is keeping AHQ so far on that particular defense, and now AHQ, a little bit of moment to breathe. This is their first real stabilization period coming out from the camp on the second checkpoint. Now They have the card in their control. You can see the card is actually behind Eric N's shield. As long as it remains there, Machi are not able to actually contest the objective of the game, and AHQ is saying, you want it, you come and get it.
No,
you got to get past our tanks first.
Nonez has got to find a lot of value, but that's a self-destruct, which means Dizzy's free to use his tactical
Attack
visor.
visor, yes. What can he get?
Getting out there, getting a lot of damage. 2 kills, and the defense matrix was too late because he gets a 3rd kill. You're too late here, No Talk. Fall down that hole because you got no value. You can't hold defense matrix if you've already thrown your mech out for self-destruct.
Absolutely true, and the timing on that is absolutely perfect. What you point out is incredible because AHQ calculator, they said, look, hey, here comes a self-destruct. We're better prepared against it this time. We're not going to just let it control our team. Meanwhile, why don't we tag visor? Where is the matrix going to come in? It's not going to come in. AHQ timed their defense to the T.
Got brilliant results out of it, but this time it's Machi with the pick at the start onto Dizzy, then no less. The Transcendence, they'll keep them alive, but now the Graviton's here to follow it up. But Sound Barrier was still there to chain that invincibility. Nonez is still going uncontested on the Soldier in the back line, but Erican, he's going to find a kill over in the front line. The payload is still being held up. One of these barriers has got to fall, and it is going to be Erican. They take it down.
They take it down, but it's not over just quite yet. It's going to be the Nano Boost now. Cowman's turn to play, picks up 1 on the other side. DCR1 is going to go back to the spawn room, and so the rest of Machi. I don't think they can continue to push this one through. AHQ still holding up, 35 seconds left to go. Barely anything left to use for Machi. 45.66 meters is what they have capped. But guess what? That is not all the way to the end. And if Machi want to go to timebank, if they actually want to get a full cap out, they're running out of time, 20 seconds.
Nonez does have his tactical visor, and they can move that up with a Graviton Surge, getting a kill at the start. That's no shield for Nonez to worry about. They've already got 3 kills. The defense matrix is only going to block for so long, but the cart isn't moving. They got no distance during the fight. They can start moving it now, but this is going to give enough time for AHQ to come back in for one last defense, and that's going to be a Graviton as well to go into the defense too. And during this fight, Dizzy will get tactical visor as well.
There it is, he gets it off, and an unsuccessful deny by Can. Will get a self-destruct down to try and counter. So far, AHQ don't come out on top of this end whatsoever. Dizzy and Eric down. This might be the push on through for Machi because everyone is still alive. Kiyomi healing at the back as well. Where the rest of AHQ? Only Lazy Titan defending. Respawn is finally coming through. Nano Boost not enough. The sleep dart will connect, and that is enough for Machi to take the cap.
Oh. Machi fully capping King's Row against AHQ. We talked about so many reasons why AHQ should have done fantastically on defense, but
I feel like how DCR1 feels right there. Just like, wow, woo, woo, what a ride.
Whew. I feel exhausted after that. It's hard to imagine what these teams feel like right now, and that's only round 1 for them. Pretty fantastic result by Machi. We have seen teams push all the way through King's Row with multiple minutes left on time bank though, AHQ being one of those teams. So as much as we can talk about Machi getting not just an acceptable but a pretty good result, AHQ still have every opportunity to come in here and completely demolish them by getting multiple minutes in time bank.
And don't forget, Machi only got it in, overtime, so they're not going to have much to work with at all, should we be going to time bank. And
well, they'll have no shot.
There it is, Lit Gash 511. If you're interested in what it says on the side of Machi, and the other side says Swag and Gash. Just Swag and Lit.
I like
your left hand is Lit and your right hand is Swag, and that's how you win if you're Machi. That's how you take the final cap against AHQ. You might just need a little bit more than that though if you want to get the full out victory. Like we said, overtime cap, it's a good, you'll accept it, but it's not your #1 result that you wanted.
Not at all, but hey, look, it's okay. And there's totally the chance that they can buy themselves a ton of time on this first point.
Hey, just go to the time shop.
Go to the time shop.
Buy yourself a lot of time.
I'm sure there's a watch shop somewhere around here.
Oh, there's a bookstore and a pub. The Hong Kong Attitude are hanging out at the pub right now, and the winner of this will probably go there and join them.
Well,
who am I kidding? Hong Kong Attitude is definitely scribbling right now. Anyway.
Well, maybe
Or
there's
the
something at the
AHQ's
pub.
attack.
That'd be great. But AHQ, like you said, on the attack, bringing Zarya into it, actually. Lazy Titan is not going to be on the Diva, so, well, Nonez, he's actually going to have a fantastic time, or is he? Because you've got Cowman coming up to try and contest him, get him off the high ground. A good reflect, just saves some damage, though.
And you can see it instantly. Hand now on the Diva, immediately going up to protect Nonez. And I don't know, I can't tell if Nonez is still up there, but I'll tell you what, Cowman is still right in the thick of things, and AHQ is slowly pressing Machi out. And start with Nonez. They wanted that target before, and they've got him now.
He must have jumped down to get taken out by Lazy Titan unless he threw a right click up in there, but with that one kill, AHQ should be able to jump on top of them, and you can't put your shield everywhere, Reinhardt.
DCR1 so low.
DCR1 too low with that Discord orb as well. Should be taken down, and that's like one kill, but a pulse bomb in response to take down the Reinhardt on the defense. That's going to be enough, but again, a nano boost.
Sustain is so good for Neutral. You look at his life, he was just sitting at about 200. He couldn't go down. And now he's going to get the return frags, and I think AHQ are going to get routed. They're going to have to pull back.
I really like the nano boost onto the Zarya here. No Talk is going to be getting his ultimate charge up very quickly at 100 charge of his own, but he's stuck it in his own. Oh no, this is deadly. But the Dragon Blade picks up a few kills. Machi are surely going to lose the point here.
Pick up a few more as well. That was at least 4, and Cowman's not quite done. He wants to make it number 5. A slippery flog versus a cybernetic ninja, the Xbox Ninja.
Xbox Ninja, well, he caught up, gave him the red ring of death, took him out of the fight. Actually, Dizzy got it, but
Yeah, let's be honest, Dizzy actually did it.
Yep.
Sony wins again. Oh well.
Oh well, but AHQ, they're going to be able to push forward, deny positioning for Machi on the defense, but with the Graviton, No Talk might have something to say about that, ironically, being called No Talk, but they can still move in. Grav is a big move here. They do fire it out, they catch two.
That was risky. I guess it was calculated because he knew there was no Diva on the other side. The Transcendence doesn't even keep Lazy Titan alive, and wow, it's probably a good move. Nonez is going to commit the tech fight as well directly into a Primal Raging. Winston Erikin cleans him up, but he's kind of stuck now himself.
That's the stuff of my worst nightmares, but the big thing to take away from that is that AHQ are moving the payload throughout the entire fight. They're moving back, and sure, now Machi have mounted a defense, but that's half the Streets phase already gone for AHQ. They just got so much distance simply from how far they pushed forward to take that fight after capping the first point.
The DCL1 does have the Earth Shatter ready to go. He's not playing against another Reinhardt, so finding an opportunity to land this one shouldn't be too hard. It won't be out of the question, and it will be Machi looking for a bit of initiative here. They know they need to be the ones to engage, and they should be, as the nano boost does come out. Earth Shatter lands. I can't see on who. I don't know if it's enough. It doesn't look like it. DCL1 will pick up Eric Kemp, but gets traded himself. The pulse bomb from Dizzy, not enough either. Now, oh, he's in such a lot of trouble. 100 energy on No Talk, and Machi are looking for the cleanup. And AHQ, you're right. They're struggling. They're unable to find time. What? A turnaround!
5 seconds ago, that is not how I expected that to go. That is the fastest I've ever seen a team die.
Yeah, and I've seen some teams die, but they really died. Cowman got 4 of those kills.
I mean, I'm sure we'll see it again in the play of the game, so we'll talk about it then, because Machi, they've got to go in, and AHQ are not giving up this payload right here, and rightfully so. They've got the Transcendence, but once that's gone, Machi can come in, but they don't have any ultimates to punish them for the lack of Transcendence, and they're still not close to any either. They're trying their hardest to get in, but that Winston barrier going to block out a lot of damage. These tanks are eventually going to start going down, and there it goes. Dizzy even throwing a pulse bomb onto No Talk, taking him out of the fight, taking him out of the mech as well, and AHQ into the 3rd checkpoint.
Thankfully, that was after that crazy cleanup from Lazy Titan and Cowman. I would have been really disappointed had they not done this. This is really cute coming in as well. Just able to pick it up, giving the kill over to Cowman's going to allow him to charge up his Dragon Blade just a little bit quicker. And it doesn't look like Machi are ready to mount the defense just yet. Still got to grab this on surge of themselves. And no Diva on the other side, so this will be a really easy grab to pull off.
3 minutes and 20 seconds
to
go.
Not if DCL1 dies. I mean, this is not good to be.
No, I mean, that's a huge amount of the damage they could have had during this Graviton Surge, and the sound barrier just blocked out a huge amount of that damage anyway. But Machi, they still managed to go forwards because they had a Tactical Visor onto Nonez. He was able to put out the damage, and using Tactical Visor, managed to push AHQ back.
Well, I'll tell you what crappy sound barrier did. It actually baited out the sound barrier from Restia, as well as the tech visor for Nonius. So what was and what could have been a single Graviton Surge, a single ult usage, turned into 3 committed by Machi. And you've got to think, you said it as well, DCR1 died. That's a lot of damage output during a grab they could have had. So mistakes from Machi, it could cost them.
And you can't be using so many ultimates in a fight when you still have 3 minutes to defend. Now just over 2 minutes though. AHQ with a Dragon Blade. They don't have a Graviton Surge to get the clean kill that they did in the Streets phase, but they still are able to dive into the back line. They need to shut him
shut us down. Who did it connect onto? I don't think enough people. Restia picks up Crappy. Erikin will take down Restia, and so far both the Lucio's down. The fight will continue, and here comes AHQ one more time. Dragon Blade's out as well. Chases Machi all the way back to the spawn room. Meanwhile, the cart continues with 2 minutes remaining. If they get the cap out here, they're going to be so far ahead of the time bank.
If Machi can somehow win a fight here, which I don't think they can with him down, they can actually sustain, but the trade back here is pretty good. Every single kill will count for Machi. That self-destruct is going to be important, but it doesn't catch anyone at all. Machi are still standing on the point. They are getting a few kills here and there, and that's exactly what they need to do.
Deflected.
The attack visor is deflected, like you said. Nonez is finding not much with it. Into the Graviton they go, and into the 3rd checkpoint. The payload will surely go. Cowman should clean this up.
Erikin is still reasonably alive, but not for much longer. And AHQ, a few struggles, a few tough moments. But the toughest moment yet to come, and not even for AHQ, is going to come for Machi, because Machi, while they kept an overtime, a minute and 20 something seconds remaining for AHQ. It's not an astounding lead, but it is something. It will become significant. It gives them at least, what, up to 3 extra pushes, and you can't discount that kind of advantage going into time bank.
Well, my knowledge of hybrid rules is correct, and time bank, AHQ just need to cap 1/3 of the first point of King's Row just to win this map and put themselves 2-0 up. But still, it was a fairly decent defense coming out from Machi. They held them
very respectable.
Yeah, I'd respect that, but like I said earlier on, straight after Machi got that 3rd checkpoint capped, that plenty of teams can get it all the way to the end of King's Row. Plenty of teams can do it with a few minutes left, so even if you put out a respectable defense, you still have to expect to go into time bank.
I think Dizzy just right at the end there coming through with the tech visor. Just in time, and Erikin, he's had a bit of a tough game. I don't know how these Earth Shadows have been landing in. You might just be correct. 1/3 of the cap, 33%. is all AHQ need, and Machi got to hold on for dear life.
Machi can't even leave the point, and they're recognizing that with their shield composition. They are running cans on the Diva, and that's going to be important because it needs to keep Nonez alive. Nonez needs to be completely uncontested up in the top floor. AHQ, they don't have a huge amount of divers. It's really going to be on Lazy Titan to go up and deal with Nonez. But DCR1, he's already dropping low. Dizzy's got in position. He gets the kill.
Beautiful bionic grenade on the back line as well. Finally, Dizzy gets contested. Maybe a little bit too late because his body is going to be Lazy Titan helping him out as well. Whereas Machi, they've completely been routed out of this. And like you said, only 1/3. I think AHG will secure this.
That was... So the positioning on DCR1 there as the Reinhardt was just opening his back up to Dizzy, and Machi didn't recognize, respect, or even consider that Dizzy would run up there. Realize is probably the big one.
That's probably the biggest one. They just didn't know. Because if DCR1 had known, he wouldn't be that close up. But I think that was the play. Dizzy being at the right place at the right time, which is very typical of Dizzy. He just knows where to stand as a soldier. He gets the kill, the very important starting kill. What is this play going to be? This isn't the play where... This is at the start. So the one I think we wanted to see was the 4 kill from Cowman and the 2 kill, I believe. Now who played? No, 4 kill from Lazy Titan on Zaya and 2 kill from Cowman on the Genji. Either case though, that final fight on the time bank.
All Dizzy.
Dizzy set that up. He laid the pins over, and the rest of AHQ, they rolled the bowling ball down the lane and got themselves a strike.
And the moment that Machi saw Dizzy up there, they had to be freaking out. They had to realize, like, oh no, how do we not consider this?
Oh yeah, no talk, went straight for it.
Exactly, but it was too late. He'd already taken down DCR1.
That's the second time it was too late. On the third checkpoint as well, remember he threw out the self-destruct and Dizzy was like, cool, attack visor now. Then No Talk's like, give me my mech back, I need a contester. It's like,
But it's just the moment that every soldier looks for. I mean, apart from just kicking a diva out of their mech, you see that self-destruct and you go, oh, finally my ultimate's useful. And you get a whole ton of kills with it while Diva's crawling back into her mech.
and luckily for No Talk, he was flying in a position where, you know, he was able to just say, yeah, it's actually too late, and I'll just suicide down the pit. He just lets go of the ignition thrusters, and down the hole he goes straight back to the respawn room. Very respectable death, and Machi just gonna back themselves out of that one. So, I mean, Machi, speaking of backing themselves out, they're now backed into a complete corner as much as AHQ look to 3-0 this entire series.
And they're coming up to Assault as well. And, you know, as much as we can say when teams go up against Blank, like, oh, okay, Blank, Assault probably their weakest type, but then AHQ?
AHQ steamrolled it.
AHQ are fantastic at Assault, and in fact, they're the reason that Blank sometimes look not great on Assault.
No one saw that. Anyway, what was I going to say? Machi did win Assault against Blank. Now, that's great, but if you compare what AHQ did to Blank on Assault versus what Machi did, AHQ's Assault was just outstanding. They walked through Assault like it was something else. Also, the first team to successfully hold Blank on a first cap on Temple of Anubis as well. Just in general, but specifically it was on Temple of Anubis. So AHQ kind of looked like one of the best Assault teams.
Yep, and it's also going to be their pick, I believe.
Now Machi is home side, so
okay,
you know AHQ will give the pick over to Machi, and I think for AHQ it doesn't really matter. You can pick what you want. You pick Hanamura, crap, you will likely be playing Torbjorn. If you pick, I think actually Volskaya was the one Assault where I wasn't super convinced by HQ. Now, mind you, that was week 1, day 1, with against Flash Wolves, and this team has improved leaps and bounds beyond that. So I can't even think and consider that to be an accurate representation of how they play Volskaya anymore.
But Volskaya is also the map that Machi beat Flash Wolves on, and that's where they came out with a pretty good performance. So if you're going to pick a map, you're probably not looking at Temple of Anubis, where HQ have already proven themselves, first holding Blank. Hanamura is a bit too standard of a map, and it allows Crappy to unlock the Torbjorn. While Torbjorn
only if you're scared of that. I mean, that's the thing. It's between Volskaya and Hanamura, right? Realistically, there's about equal arguments for both. Now the thing is, you've seen more AHQ on Hanamura than you have on Volskaya, so the argument for Hanamura is you know a little bit more about what they're going to bring to the table, which means you're going to be less surprised and you'll be better prepared in general. So Volskaya might actually be a riskier pick, but the plus for Volskaya is, like you said, they beat Flash Wolves on it. It does show a level of competency for Machi, and maybe that's enough to push them over the edge against AHQ.
It's also a map that they didn't just happen to first hold Flash Wolves on. Like, that's also a good result, and could be another reason why they would pick Volskaya, but also because they went to the second point, they also captured it against Flash Wolves as well. It shows that they're not just masters of the first point, they also know how to capture the second point as well. So that's another brick wall that a lot of teams run into on Hanamura. The last time we've seen teams on Hanamura, the last few times actually, I don't think we've actually seen the second point fully captured. But Volskaya, well, Machi have shown that they can do it.
I don't know if I can confirm that. I can't.
It feels like it.
I can't currently deny it either, but I don't think I can really confirm that either, because I'm pretty sure people have capped. But I think a lot of teams have had a decent defense on second, which has made it seem like, I think overall, every team, despite whether they cap it or not, has struggled. There's been very little easy caps. Now, we've seen Temple of Anubis. In fact, Temple of Anubis has been the map where teams are most likely to get a single push through, cap 1 and then cap 2 straight away. Have not seen that on Hanamura. Have not seen that on Volskaya.
Well, Machi might make that day today, if they do pick Volskaya, of course.
Or HQ will make it the day today. One of them maybe.
Yeah, well,
both very good at Assault.
At least the performance by Machi was stepped up on King's Row. So I don't think we can count them out completely on Assault this time.
Now we'll see what Machi can bring to Assault with the final opportunity against AHQ Esports Club, who do lead 2-0. We'll find out what the Assault map is going to be when we come back. We'll see you soon. And And welcome back to the Overwatch Pacific Championship English broadcast. I'm AVRL. With me is Smite as we get ready for map 3 of Machi Esports versus AHQ Esports in the final match of day 3 in week number 5. So far, Machi struggling a little bit, but also looking pretty good. I mean, I still can't count them out, but AHQ are just so good currently.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a struggle to like find reasons for why they're actually going to find a win here today, but I'm not counting them out completely, right? They came back with a pretty decent showing on Kings Row, I've got to say. They did actually cap it all the way to the end and only ended up losing in time bank where, I mean, let's get real. It's pretty hard to defend 1/3 of the point, even with only just over a minute for the attackers to use. So, I mean, they did get it all the way to the end against AHQ. So that's a good showing coming out from them. And even the results on Control, which was 0-3, during those maps themselves, they did definitely fight back. And even some of the results themselves, one of them was a 99-0, but boy, golly gosh, did Machi really make AHQ work hard for that.
Boy, golly gosh, the phrase of the evening to describe the events so far. I wonder what you'll use to describe the events after map number 3, as we're still deciding what it's going to be, and decisions have been made. Volskaya is that decision. We said earlier, Hanamura was going to be the choice if Machi felt like they wanted a good read of what they thought AHQ was going to do. Volskaya was going to be the pick if they were feeling confident after riding off the wave of their win versus Flash Wolves on this particular map.
Yeah, and that's a fairly decent reason to go off. I mean, there's different strengths to picking either Volskaya or Hanamura. You mentioned, you know, getting a good read on what AHQ have already done on Hanamura, so you can use that to your advantage. But Volskaya, look, Machi have already done well, and I also said that they managed to cap not just the first point, but also the second point up against the Flash Wolves. So they're not just one-trick masters of the first point, they can also do the second one as well. So I definitely think they're going to be able to come into this one swinging, and with their performance on Kings Row, I'm not writing them off yet. HQ, by no means, they're still favored to win, I've got to say, because unlike Blank, they haven't shown a big weakness on Assault. So even though Machi, there's all these reasons we're saying that they could take it out here, AHQ still have the better chance at coming in for a win on Volskaya.
And AHQ as well as a team, if they were showing weaknesses anywhere, it has not been on Assault, because even when they were losing, they were winning Assault. Now, the only time they hadn't won Assault was against Flash Wolves on the very opening day of the OPC. Now we're 5 weeks in. This is a very different, not a completely different, but a much improved, evolved, leveled up AHQ team. In fact, they're so good now. Machi, who have also incredibly improved, are still finding it very difficult to touch AHQ. Now, had this been the same AHQ from weeks 1 and 2, I think Machi would be in a winning position, because Machi have seriously gone leaps and bounds. But guess what, so have AHQ. So unfortunately, for them, it's still going to be a tough run, and I am excited to see what Machi have to offer on Volskaya, because, like you kind of mentioned, this is the map where they beat Flash Wolves on, and can they repeat that performance?
Yeah, we'll have to see which team is going to be on the defense first, but either way, it's going to be about storming that high ground, storming those balconies as the attackers. You need to get up there, and it's about whether you split up, use heroes with a high amount of mobility so that you can get to either side of these balconies, because teams love to retreat as soon as they notice which path the attackers are taking, and just keeping safe along these balconies.
Plenty of balconies as well, plenty of icy cold water, and like we said, Overwatch characters can't swim. It's going to be defense from AHQs to start things off. A little bit of changes in there just to check. No, sorry, not defense. It's going to be offense, my bad. Machi are going to defend first, and they're going to go for somewhat of an atypical Sombra defense, something that Flash Wolves do quite commonly as well.
So I like this attack path coming out from AHQ. They're looking to find a kill. They're not opting to go for the high ground, instead actually just going to go for a death ball onto the point itself and force Machi down onto them. But you can also see Dizzy is looking to get that high ground too. A good hook there. You cannot defense matrix that. It drops them quite low, and that's already the first kill for AHQ. Dizzy still uncontested, sprinting up to the high ground.
And Lazy Titan just finishes off that mech as well, incoming a kill onto No Talk himself. What a rocket onto Kiyomi, and this is Dizzy, round 2. You thought he was good in Kings Row. He's going to show you how to play Volskaya as well. Machi, you think you had a good reason to pick this map? Well, guess what? ASU got a better reason to think they're going to win it.
Wow. What a storm. They just literally run onto the point, find one hook, and drop the mech incredibly low. And also, I don't know what DCR1 was doing, but he got caught out, and AHQ punished him for it. They were already pushed forward to the second point, wasting no time at all. They've got a nano boost, but they don't have anything amazing to combo with. Maybe Erican if he gets into position, but that's about it.
HQ going to look for picks here. If they can get a couple of opening picks, they can start to snowball their way through. The Kent is going to chuck down the pulse bomb to nothing. Nonez with an EMP as well should be the one to really decide the engagement of this defense. And for Machi, EMP could be make or break this for AHQ. Ultimates, they weren't online, but they are starting to come online, and that's a scary thought.
If AHQ go in with ultimates, never mind, there's the EMP. They can just back off of this. Machi aren't able to capitalize on EMP. They do get an extended hack, and I told a total lie. They do capitalize, getting a mech, getting the Lucio.
That's 3, that's
also,
2.5 actually.
Yep, 2.5, make that 3. Machi, good solid defense there, but what did they force out of AHQ in the end? Only time.
Only time, and when you got 6 minutes left to go, now time would be a valuable resource, and it still is. Had AHQ struggled to get the first cap, because AHQ rolled through the first cap so strongly, bleeding out time, it's something AHQ can afford to do currently. They're going to walk in with 6 ultimates, and for Machi, 53% onto the EMP as well. There's a very specific timing AHQ got to hit, and they got to go, they got to press the go button before the next EMP comes out. Otherwise, these ultimates are going to be no effect.
And every bit of damage that they do is just charging up that EMP even further. So unless they're looking to get a kill, this chip damage is actually ending up to help Machi right now. 80% on that EMP. It's getting close. AHQ, it's do or die. They've got to go in with their ults now.
Here's Shadow went down. I don't know if it caught anybody. Lazy Titan, however, does catch. The Nano Visor now coming into play for Dizzy. He's becoming a bit of a monster. Shuts down the EMP as well. Nonez is going to have to wait for the respawn. And Kiyomi's still alive. Can's still alive. Not for much longer. This might just be the cap out. 1/3 gone. Getting to the second tick. Where is the EMP? Finally, it comes out. Catches the majority of members. And Machi, it's their turn to play.
Yep, Machi, they've got to come in and get any kills that they possibly can. These hacks will help, but it's the damage they need to do. Defense Matrix will keep AHQ alive, but they're all still sitting there on the point. They finally get a kill onto Karis. That's going to be huge. That's all they need to get the momentum rolling in these hacks, denying health packs, denying the survivability, and also shooting people in the back is going to take them down too. AHQ. Oh, Dizzy, he's still getting kills. He's still sitting back uncontested. You can, I can't talk now until you say my name, but hey, look, it's AHQ. They're still finding these kills and he finds a hook, but it's only onto a mech. Sound barrier should secure this for AHQ because Machi cannot find any kills. The 1 or 2 here and there is not enough when no one kills Dizzy.
4 minutes and, 18 seconds is a super respectable time. And I said so far, no team has been able to get Volskaya in one solid push from Cap 1 to Cap 2. Still, no team can do that. But AHQ, that's the closest we've seen so far.
That's the closest indeed. And, well, there was one pushback coming out from Machi. That EMP did win them the fight, but in a way, that's almost how AHQ were okay with playing, right? They force out an ultimate. Even if it's a fast-charging one like EMP, they can come back, and we saw. They had 6 ultimates of their own.
Now,
Too hard to fight that.
Now, this is the game-winning play. The game-winning play in my book is when Nonez got killed before the next EMP came out. He had EMP available. It wasn't like he got killed pre-EMP, which actually would have technically been better. But the fact that EMP came out, the EMP was available, didn't get used by Nonez. He got sniped out of the sky somewhere, didn't quite catch it, but the fact that happened completely set AHQ up to get 2 ticks out of 3, 2 milestones out of 3 on the cap, 66%. And then when Nonez finally came back with the EMP, it was time for AHQ to just kind of wait it out, just sit there, sit tight, make sure your hands are still in your pockets and getting ready, and then finally pull anything else out that you had and secure that win is exactly what they did.
Well, no matter what the situation was on defense, they've now got to come into the offense with a humongous task. They've got to cap both points at the very least. And if they go into overtime, well, they'd be in the same situation they were on King's Row. So they've got to get a time that's similar to what AHQ did. And seeing as that was about the fastest push they could almost do, basically one fight short of it, oh, that's a huge ask.
I thought you said something else there as we were looking at Winston. But HQ,
Huge monkey.
They're going to bring out huge scientist.
Sorry.
They're going to bring out the Sombra defense themselves, and we'll see if HQ can do what Machi could not, as particularly on that first checkpoint, on this first cap. Now, HQ rolled through Machi very quickly. can Machi reply the favor, or is this going to be the cold? Is this going to be the first point defense that Machi can't handle?
They're going to plant Nonez up on the high ground and in fact bring up some buddies with them, but already AHQ are noticing what's going on and saying this is our high ground, no soldiers are allowed up here, except our one of course, and they're going to force Nonez out of it, and they do pick up a 2-for-1 trade. No red soldiers up here, only the blue ones. So, actually, no, they're the red one. You're allowed the red soldiers up there, but AHQ, they're still losing a few members here. Machi might actually be able to take the point here. Yeah, no, they're getting enough kills here. That's enough to take the point.
Well, Dizzy down is always a good sign if you're Machi, and Nonez is exactly where Dizzy had control of the last time that AHQ attacked. And this is it, you're right, you're absolutely right. It will be the cap through, and I don't see a way for AHQ to successfully get back on there. They notice that as well, they're not going to go back for it. They're going to set up, use this time to hack a few health packs, use this time to get your players in positioning, because they still got a decent amount of time to hold for 6 minutes 46. It's roughly about the same time AHQ had. This is going to be tough.
The thing with this fight as well is that Machi, if they go immediately, they're going to get their ults during the fight. They don't have them immediately. Nonez needs to get a few pot shots off before that tactical visor is ready. Actually, he's just about done it. Now they have the combo to go in with, and Kant, we're back to playing Metal Gear Solid. He's going to find that sneaky pulse bomb kill. If he can find it, that might be enough, but they've already lost no talk.
1-to-1, it is an equal trade, but I'll keep my Diva over my Lucio currently, so the trade kind of work in the favor of HQ. Not only that, but I mean, they're literally defending where their spawn is so close that any kills just kind of get, they just kind of come back and wow, look at that, Kant still being unnoticed.
That was pretty
Frappy just kind of skates past him. He's too busy listening to music. This is what happens when you wall ride with the earbuds in.
Yep, don't notice the Tracer who's in your back line, but is Dizzy going to be the victim of it? It doesn't matter. Doesn't even need the intel to know that he's there. Nonez has activated the tactical visor, but that's 2 kills too late already. Machi have to back off after using that ultimate.
And you even see Dizzy there. He's just sort of considering, what should I do? Should I use something now? I don't need it. Should I even shoot? Don't need to shoot. My team has got this.
Why would I waste bullets? They're a valuable resource.
Exactly. I don't want to even spend time reloading. I just want to, I want to be me. And you know, if Kent wants to challenge me again, I welcome him because I smacked him down so easily last time. Hopefully he'll learn his lesson.
Big thing is that Kant didn't try and throw out the pulse bomb either. Tried to actually just beat him with his basic guns. Trying to save the pulse bomb for later.
I don't know. That's interesting, and maybe a talking point for later is HQ still clean up. That's 4 kills, including a suicide, making it 5, and Kerry's just going to pick one up as well. So far, excuse me, AHQ are pretty much already had their game-winning push by now on their attack, and for Machi, this is still looking for options, and by the time AHQ came under their attack, they had 6 options. Machi's sitting on 3 even with AHQ, and they still have to play around an EMP.
Machi's best case scenario right now is still playing catch up to AHQ, like you just said. AHQ sitting there ready with their EMP just to shut things down. I mean, DCR1, if he gets in there, even with Primal Rage, there's the EMP, and Lazy Titan picks up a kill into Kiyomi. Machi surely have to back out, and that's exactly what they're going to do. But it's AHQ on the chase. They're going to shut them down. They've got the hack down as well. Oh. They don't get any kills there. Oh, maybe no, they're still going in.
That is crazy. Just that one burst of a clip from Sombra's SMG on carries against DCL1 there got him 20% charge back, and now after just using EMP 56%, I know I'm not surprised. I'm not supposed to be surprised at this anymore, but it just speaks to how difficult it is for Machi to push it. But they will push him nonetheless. Sound barrier does come down. No other ults committed so far, and Dizzy's in trouble. If they get Dizzy, this will be a really good result for Machi as the ults finally do come online. Tactical visor as well for Nonez, does find a kill on the carries, denying the EMP for now, so Machi, it is starting to work out.
Sound barrier only onto 3 people, but it's just to keep them alive so those reinforcements can come into play. Machi they've only got a self-destruct to work with. They've already used all of their DPS ults, but they're still picking up these kills. Keres, he can contest the point for a little while with his invisibility, but Dizzy's going to be the big one once he comes back in with the tactical visor. It's going to be whether he needs to use it to hold his point.
EMP down on Machi means this is not going to be a self-destruct coming from No Talk's mech. In fact, I'm looking to see if Machi can find a way back into this game, and currently, after losing this many members, I don't think they will be. One EMP is exactly what AHQ needed to climb themselves back in. In fact, look at the cap, it almost went, what was that? I felt like it was about 90-ish kind of percent. It will go back down to 2 ticks, which is not impossible for Machi to cap on through, but they are running out of time, 2 minutes and 35. They're gonna get at least 3, maybe, I think about 4 pushes left to go, but consider the setup time required as well, and still they have to play around EMP.
And the thing is that big bane of their existence in the last fight is almost up again. In fact, there is EMP ready to go. This will shut them down. The sound barrier's out, but if EMP is there, those barriers are going to disappear.
Been used. It has been used. Can Solid Snake find a kill on the back line? The pulse bomb ready to go. Gets eaten up. Oh, Lazy Titan, you are so good at this game. And Can, the only real weapon he had, it does get wasted, but still Machi able to find the kills on the back line. AHQ gonna have to rely on respawners, but they might not have the time because look at the cap, it's so close now. Only 2 members. Eric Ken's got to keep this one alive. If he jumps on the point, it won't be the cap. And finally, Machi, they break through.
And that's a good result for them. That's a respectable result for them. That's what I would have said if that was the first round. But AHQ went through basically as fast as they could, slipping on one single fight. They have almost 5 minutes to go through once more. And I think that's almost enough for them to go through and cap another 2 points.
Wow, I gotta say, so far both teams have been masters of attacking the first cap and not been so great at defending the first cap. Both teams are very much in control of understanding what they need to do to get the first cap. Now, Machi struggled on the second cap. That's been where the main point of difference is, where AHQ had the setup, had the plan to immediately put themselves in a 6-ult position, snipe no-nes out before the EMP could be played. That's a game-winning play for AHQ. Now for Machi, they had it a lot tougher, and only towards the very end, even after getting a pulse bomb eaten, they managed to come back because the other members had secured the kills. They worked around the EMP. It didn't matter by that stage.
Get down from there, you silly scientist.
That is a pose and a bit.
Can you emote up
high
there?
five. Is he high-fiving? I haven't seen this before. This is something new. This is something else.
Seriously, the camera work is also fantastic. I love it when they spot out things like that. But it's going to be Machi on the attack once more. Only a minute to go. Can they cap point 1 as fast as they did the first time? They've got
I'm more interested to see if AHQ can actually pull off a defense. I'm interested to see if either team can pull off the first cap defense. Now, this is going to be a slightly different move. Machi have typically gone for the opposite side where No-nes is shooting. They're going to be taking this upward battlements elevation here. Going to get challenged a little bit.
That's a barrier down.
You're not wrong. Eric Ken did throw that one away a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this could be the moment for Machi to go in. Barrier does block a huge amount of damage coming out from a lot of people. It stops projectiles so easily. And this is already the first kill coming out. No Talk pouncing straight onto Cowman of all people. That's 1 member down. This health pack is going to be hacked. There's no way they can heal up down there. But they're picking up another kill. No Talk doing all the work here. And really, it's AHQ just struggling to stay on the point right now. And Cowman got to find some kills here.
EMP won't even save them here. I think Carries might be smart to try and save this, or at least if they're gonna go for a retake. No, he's just gonna go for the straight respawn, which I can also respect, making sure he's not gonna get picked off right at the end. And Machi, no matter which way they sort of cut it, whether they go up the left side from attacker's perspective, whether they go up the right side, they take one of the elevated grounds, they plant themselves and build a bunker, load themselves in, and suddenly AHQ, they can't get themselves in, and as soon as either Dizzy or No-nes sit themselves up there, that's kind of it.
Oh, nano boost onto the Winston there. Also EMP used. What can Carries find? He does get out of the mech, and it's also going to deny the self-destruct. Candle's up in the backline, but Dizzy's going to be fine. DCR1 has jumped into the backline to get 2 kills there, but Cowman, what can he find as well on the defense? Every single kill here counts for AHQ. It doesn't matter if the trades are even or even in slightly Machi's favor, because AHQ are the defenders. 20 seconds to go. Do they have enough time to mount one more attack?
And the staggered kills right at the end as well is going to affect Machi's attack time here. 15 seconds, no one's even close to the cap. Expect Laser Titan to drop this bomb on the entire team at some point as well. Carries with no EMP. This is the timing that Machi need. 5 seconds left to go. They have no time to waste whatsoever. Sound barrier does come down. And now Machi, their final offense. Can they get it done here? And the EMP ready for Kerry. Self-destruct doesn't catch anybody. A lot of kills for Machi so far. And the EMP didn't actually come down. So Kerry's just got to wait for the respawn.
Dizzy's tactical visor. Dizzy's used tactical visor, but what is he getting out of it? Absolutely nothing. It's just being eaten up by No Talk, blocking the entire thing. Kerry's is going to come in for the respawn here. This EMP should be huge. It stopped Machi last time. Can it stop them again? Sound barrier as well. That's 2 ults committed. That should be enough momentum for AHQ to mount a defense, and here it is. And even with no one on Nonez, he's finally going to be shut down.
The final play for Machi, that's all they needed. I think Machi had a really great setup there. They entered with just enough important ultimates. They entered just in time to contest the overtime, and they denied Kerry's from using EMP at the start of the fight. So it was a bit dicey for HQ, but Machi couldn't clean it up. They couldn't finish the cap. They couldn't secure that win. And I won't lie, for a 2CP, for an assault for Volskaya, you typically, unless you're coming in with a ridiculous ult advantage like AHQ did previously with 6 ults against, what was it, 2 or 3, unless you're coming in with that, it's unlikely for you to get a cap in one push. You need to chip away. And Machi, they got that 1/3. They got that 1/3 tick at 33%. If they had another couple pushes, maybe they could have had it, but not enough time.
It's actually a good point as well, because even if they do give up this first point here, they can stand a chance at defending the second point and actually not even going to a draw. Now, the big thing, though, is that I said it before when we first went into Time Bank, is that AHQ, they have enough time to cap out another 2 points again. If they played anything like they did in the first round, this is enough time for them to do the exact same thing again. And honestly, I'd be surprised if they didn't cap out that 1/3 on the second point.
Yeah, they don't even need to, and they're going to start with more time than what is regularly available. 4 minutes and 18 seconds is decent, and AHQ haven't so far found a weakness, their own weakness rather, against the first cap. AHQ might not be great at defending it, but we'll see if Machi can do better.
Well, if it ain't broke, why would you fix it? Because Dizzy, he's going to go back up onto that high ground with the rest of his team. Death balls onto the point itself. It's already starting to cap.
Good push shot
for
Lazy Titan.
Lazy Titan, he's just securing his own high ground. Kiyomi, he's trying to hold his own, and no one is actually up there to contest him to his credit, and he is picking up a kill with that Helix rocket. They may be stopping AHQ in their tracks.
This is not familiar ground for AHQ. They didn't struggle this hard last time. In fact, it was a very, very quick roll through. Kant takes about as much damage as he healed up, and he's going to have to run back for his health pack, and AHQ going to come in for round number 2. Didn't waste too much time. The EMP comes on through.
Good save.
Almost got killed there, but you're right. A beautiful save from his teammate will keep him just alive long enough for Machi to be able to surely secure this defense.
Machi, that's a second fight won for them, and utilizing a few ultimates to do so. The EMP is the big one that actually kept them alive there, but also just brilliant micro moves there too, using that defense matrix to keep the hook target alive. But that's 2 kills for AHQ. Dizzy though, no tactical visor because he's dead.
Yeah, Dizzy does go down there as well. This is a very extended fight. So while I said, okay, AHQ got a decent amount of time to work with, they also need that time to attack second cap. They're starting to do a pretty good job here. The nano boost on Reinhardt does do a decent amount of damage. Comes the EMP down as well. Dizzy, he needs to get the tac visor out eventually. I think this is an absolute requirement for them to be able to take this one. And without Eric in, their main tank falls down. No Earth Shadow to come into play, and Machi's still got a decent amount of ults. Here comes the hold on.
I mean, Machi, they're just going to push forward. They've still got No Talk to shut down any kind of tactical visor play coming out of Dizzy. Surely AHQ are just going to back off here. They are running out of time. Not to cap the first point, but to have a fair shot at the second point. This could be Machi being the first team to defend at the first point on Volskaya Industries here. They still have ults to work with of their own. While I can talk about Dizzy having his tactical visor, look at Kiyomi. He's got his own one. And AHQ are not a team that are able to contest him well enough. All they can do is throw Lazy Titan at him and hope for the best.
And this could be a repeat performance against AHQ like Machi had against Flash Wolves. I mean, I know they didn't they didn't have a fantastic attack on the second cap in the time bank, but they might not need to go there if they can hold this first cap themselves.
Sound Barrier is going to keep most of AHQ alive against Kiyomi's tactical visor, and they're actually going to get a lot of kills out of it because Dizzy is completely uncontested. No Talk wasn't even in the picture to stop him, and this is going to be enough kills for AHQ to roll up to the second point.
Finally, they've been waiting so long for this, and with 1 minute 53, they got you know, more than double the amount of time that Machi had to work with, but I don't know if that's still going to be enough. Double the amount of time means one additional push. They may just need every single push to go through with them. Known as almost onto the EMP already. AHQ have a very fine line of timing to get this done.
Cowman could hit a single hook, and that could be enough for them to get the win here. But there's also Kant. He could do the same thing. Watch out for that EMP. It's so close to come up right now, and that would actually shut down AHQ's push. There it is. All the shields, all the barriers, they're gone. They're going in for the fight now, and AHQ, they have to back off, but they're not giving up too many kills just yet. That's only a mech, and D.Va actually manages to suicide. So while they did lose the fight, they did not hand over a lot of ult charge.
They didn't, and 104 left to go. AHQ still charging up themselves. Now for Machi, EMP has gone for the time being, but they got a lot of other options to rely on. So I think Machi have a decent shot at actually still holding this. For AHQ, if they had Machi's time, they would have already lost. But unfortunately for Machi, they got a much better, much more respectable amount of time to work with. The hook does come out. It does secure a kill on Kent. And now AHQ, it's time to play directly into the Matrix, and the self-destruct will come down as well. Cleans up Eric. But who else is here alive? Dizzy now. And straight into a Matrix again.
Another hungry D.Va just eating up an entire ultimate. But AHQ, regardless, they're still picking up the kills. Cowman getting the hook right at the start shows that that was simply enough. They only need to get just over 1/3 of the point. Nodez finds a kill. This lazy Titan ult could be enough to secure them.
It's so close.
He just needs to throw it out. It's just ticking away, and AHQ take out Volskaya.
3-0, and Dizzy right at the end there, uncontested, undefeated. And undefeated is exactly what AHQ are against Machi Esports. 3-0. It was a close series. Machi were incredibly impressive. But I gotta say, you know, AHQ still more impressive. For Machi, next time they gotta bring a little bit more swag and definitely a lot more lit.
Well, for AHQ though, what they can take away from this is that now they succeeded where Flash Wolves could not. They were the team to beat Machi and not just suddenly fall to the 6th place team at the time.
I'm gonna say that for Flash Wolves, that was definitely a one-off. I'll give them a one-off to say, hey, you had a bad day. I forgot the rest of the lyrics to that song, but it's fine.
I don't know it.
Something. Da. Anyway, but it was a bad day. We'll give Flash Wolves that day off. It's like, okay, cool. Just didn't have fun there. And don't forget, AHQ also beat Flash Wolves on the same day, so that's something to remember.
But I mean, remember, bad day or not, that's still points on the leaderboard that you're not going to have, that AHQ now have.
Speaking of points on the leaderboard, they're not going to have that. Machi are not going to have these points, not today.
No,
AHQ get to clean that one up, and let's take a look at the standings, or not the standings, but rather the results from today. Match 1, we started. Sunsister and Hong Kong Attitude. HKA did not falter, 3-0 clean sweep. And now, as well, Sunsister against Fireball, 3-2, so close.
I believe
handshakes, got to collect your handshakes.
I believe it was actually Fireball that got the 3-2 there. So a bit of an error.
Was.
Bit of an error there, but that's okay. So yeah, AHQ going over, giving in the handshakes, and yeah, I've got to say, like, the points that they can earn here, this could be the difference between placing above Flash Wolves and just tying with them when we get way into the later rounds.
As we got a little bit of time here. So AHQ for the first, well, I don't think it's the first time. I think this is the second time now AHQ get a taste of that first place. What does it feel like? And for the first time, Sunsister, they're not in 8th. They're actually in 7th, technically, because AHQ are tied with Blank in first. So Flash Wolves, unfortunately, still sitting on 9. Blank Esports and AHQ is so neck and neck. I think these guys are slowly becoming very much rivals. All three of these teams, Flash Wolves, AHQ, and Blank, these three teams are so neck and neck. It's become a very interesting competition.
10-2, just, I mean, visually it just looks so much better than 9-3 for Flash Wolves, but we've got to say that's only one win difference, right? That one win
and one loss.
Yeah, well, okay, one loss as well, but that is simply Machi right there. Imagine if they had beaten Machi. They would be sitting up there in a 3-way tie for first place, but dropping one game, whether it's a bad day or not, that's okay. You can come back from that, but look at that difference. If we just keep
Hey,
the
that'd be
exact same
And I was,
results,
I was saying, like, how can everyone just win? Hey, you can just have a three-way tie in first, and that'd be an
you
interesting.
can have an
way to go.
8-way tie in first if you really want.
Um,
You want that? Is
yeah,
that what you really
well,
want, Kev?
I don't know. What I want to see is, for example, Fireball going down to Flash Wolves. That was kind of a given. Now Machi going down to AHQ, this was a lot closer. I want to see if Machi can still come back for the rest of this round robin, in particular next round robin. If they had a close result against AHQ, a close result against Blank, and I'm not a close result in terms of scoreline, but in terms of the actual presence in the game and how good they were, then I think if Machi stay on their current trajectory, they should be fairly competitive.
I've got no question in my mind that Machi should be able to get into the top 4. They should be able to beat Hong Kong Attitude
They look more solid
and
right now.
take their spot, right? Now that's all fine and well for them, but they need to get into that top 3 if they want to progress, and that's got to be where they've got their sights set. And
Not quite there.
it feels like they're almost there. And let's also think about their improvement from the first round to this round, the second round. They used to be in 6th place. Now we're talking about they can challenge the teams that are essentially almost in a 3-way tie for that first spot. In fact, they've already challenged Flash Wolves and taken them down. So this is a team that can break into the top 3. I'm not going to question that.
Yeah, it's definitely the ones you got to look out for. I think if you're either Flash Wolves, AHQ, or Blank, you can't underestimate Machi anymore. You always have to consider, like, not just the fact that you'll lose a game to Machi and it'll bring them up, but more so if you lose a game to Machi where the other teams in that top 3 do not, suddenly those placings shift. And where you may have once been the first team, second or third, you may just be dropping one down. If you're already in third and you're dropping Machi, well, maybe you swap places with Machi, and that's not where you want to be as we head into playoffs.
And it's also not just about getting into the top 3 as well, right? These teams that are already in there, you want to be at number 1. You want to get your best possible chance moving into the playoffs, and dropping that one single game against Machi, just like it has for Flash Wolves, will drop you out of that tie at the top spot. You know, at HQ, Blank, they're duking it out for the throne while Flash Wolves are sitting there pouring at their feet.
So let's consider what we saw against from Machi versus AHQ. So although Machi had a good performance, a 3-0 on control on Lijiang, not the most. There's some close matches there, but otherwise, AHQ looked like they were fairly dominant. I will give control over to AHQ and say they were the team on that map, on that game mode. Now going into Kings Row again hybrid, a better showing from Machi, but still, it ended up being a much more, I would say, still a far cleaner game from AHQ and a much better display from AHQ. Now, only when we get into Assault did we actually start to question AHQ's ability to win.
Yeah, I mean, Machi, they definitely proved that they can defend pretty well. They had the best showing on the first point during the first round of Time Bank for them, so definitely showing that they can play it out with the best, even on that first point, and then actually having a good showing on the second point. Let's not forget that in that second round of Time Bank, we've got to say technically Machi did better, because while it was...
They absolutely did better, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? It took much longer for AHQ to get all the way to the second point and then start getting all the way up to that third of the capture point. It was like 34% or something they had to capture, something close to that. But
Still wasn't easy. It still felt very hard fought.
It wasn't easy. It still took them a long time to set up. So second round of Time Bank, got to hand it over to Machi. It's just that first round, you can't let AHQ get there that quickly. You can't let them get into Time Bank
Not
with
only,
over
but
4
AHQ
minutes.
set up that win, that second push was set up so well, and then even, again, getting that early pick out on Nonias kind of paved the way for AHQ. Everything fell into place for AHQ, and it is. The way I describe AHQ as a team is they set up the pins, then they knock them all down for a strike, and this is how AHQ operate. And Machi is just going to be another victim, another statistic that gets added onto AHQ's win streak.
Yeah, and it's going to be painful for Machi as well. I mean, we're sitting here talking about how they're...
Who, by the way, AHQ have the best win streak in the competition now after they've beaten Blank. So they've only lost twice. They lost to, who did they lose to? They lost to Blank once and they lost to Flash Wolves once, right?
And that was in the first
Exactly, that
weekend?
was the first week. So since then, they have been undefeated. And I think, you know, they absolutely, after that, have the most dominant win streak in the competition. It used to be Blank, it's not anymore. And we should be getting into the interview fairly soon as well with the winners from AHQ. And I think AHQ
Hello， 欢迎来
is
到我们
such a
的
great
赛
spot.
后
Here we
访
go.
问时间，我是主持人啾啾。哦，那在我身旁的呢
Hey,
就是
Cowman,
AHQ
round
的
two.
Cowman 啦，先跟大家打个招呼。
大家好，我是靠妹。
好，那有几个问题想要请问你哦。那第一个问题是在第二场用地图广大道的时候，然后是使用女坦跟星星的阵容嘛？那是想要用女坦的大招为核心打出突破口吗？
女坦的刺客阵循环会比 Diva 好，那可是相对的平常的保护也会少了一点。
So our question was, why would you pick
好，
Xayah
那我就
over,
问第二个问题喽。
say, a Diva? And he says the damage output from Diva is from Xayah is really
放
good.
盾的时机可以
The
说
defense
是
is
完
worse.
美。那可以分享一下女坦放盾的技巧跟时机吗？
之前我放盾没有很好，是因为很长想要蹭能量，那个时机就会很烂，就是一放盾，可能我们的莱茵就死了。对，就是慢慢在摸索，就是可能感觉对面闪光有大的时候，就是要扣个盾之类的。
哦，所以现在有摸到就是时机大概是怎么样的？
慢慢摸，
慢慢摸，还在摸。好，那没关系。那第三个问题是我们常常就
Not
是
too sure
发
about
现
that
你
one,
使用到
unfortunately.
原
Let's find out what
是
they
蓝
say
露
here, though.
珠跟女坦。那想请问你比较喜欢使用哪一个角色呢？为什么？
蓝露珠吧。
蓝露珠吗？
对，
为什么？
因为勾一个就死一个，比较轻松。
勾一个就死。
其他角色有点麻烦。
我知道你想让
So
别
he
人
quite
比
likes
较
playing
快
Hog. He's saying if you get the hook, you are guaranteed a
就是可以
kill,
一
and
人
that's
去
quite
对那种
consistent.
感觉。
好哦，好哦。好，那我来问最后一个问题喽，放轻松。那因为呢，女坦跟蓝露珠啊都是坦型的角色，那在选角的时候是如何判断用哪一支出赛呢？
因为蓝露珠之前版本有跟动，就是有 nerf， 那现在 meta 都是刺客阵，出蓝露珠其实蛮难打的，所以就是以保牌为主，出女坦我觉得会好一点。
He says it's quite risky to play Hog currently because of the damage output from the triple DPS meta. You take a lot of personal damage as Hog. Now playing the Xayah is
那我们
slightly
在这边
safer
呢，
as
再
a
一
pick
次恭
compared
喜
to Hog.
HQ 赢得这
You know,
场
obviously
比
a
赛。
little bit more
好，那
protection
这一周的
for
比赛
yourself
呢，就
while
到这
having
边先
reasonable
告一段
damage
落
output.
喽。好，我们现在把时间先交给我们的分析台。
Check. No, I think that will be the end of the interview now. And that was Cowman from HQ as we head into the couch interview actually. Yeah, so let's get into this. It's going to be Eddie Boss and Carriers, and we haven't seen Eddie Boss for a long time.
大家好，我是 AHQ 的 AD Boss。
大家好，我是 AHQ 的凯瑞斯。
对，其实大家应该蛮好奇，为什么会邀请两位来访问？因为其实两位在队上都是一个安娜的一个角色，
So
而且
you
目
both
前
play
看起来
Anna.
就是只能有一个上
What?
场。
How are
这
you
个
playing the
是非
sub
常
situation?
残
How
酷
is
的
that
一个
being
事实
decided? And what,
但我觉
what's
得
the
今天就
story
想要
behind it?
问一下AD Boss 这边，就是在凯瑞斯上场之后就开始连胜了，你对这件事情有什么看法？
这件事情，就是可能目前他们配合的很好，然后可能是风格不一样的关系吧。然后我自己在下面，就是自己在目前没有上场的话，我会看就是团练的对象跟凯瑞斯的安娜的风格，然后去吸收更多，对吧？
对，你觉得你们两个
He's
的
saying
一
the
个
play
安娜
style
风格
that
是
Carries
不一
has
样
on Anna is working a lot better with
不
HQ
一
so
样
far.
我觉得我比较属于是，我打的比较极限，就是可能要么很好，就是对队伍的话，要么就是成功，然后不然就是风险会很高的这种类型。
那也要问一下凯瑞斯另外一个问题，就是你们两个有没有可能同时上场？因为你们俩现在玩的都是安娜嘛，等于是你上场他不能上场，他上场就不能上场。有没有可能，比如说练新的角色时，或是直接把 Creepy 的路修给挤下来？
这是有机会的，因为我的位置本来就是自由位嘛，本来是就奠定，所以我有机会会看到我玩输出。
真的吗？
有可能
你说的是认真的吗？
So he's saying
因为我之前本来就玩输出的、啊，
you
所以你
both
是后来才转到安娜
you
的
both
这个
play
位置
Anna.
因为安娜有一段
Is there any situation where you are actually both playing at the same time and Crappy is not?
我又特别喜欢玩那种就是要 carry 的角色，要不然我干嘛教凯瑞斯，对不对？
对，那我问一
Carries
个
is
问
saying
题
that he
如
can
果
actually
你
hop on
要
the
提升
Lucio
为
for
狙
quiet
那
as
个
well.
输出手，你要把第一滴给挤下来吗？
迪丽啊，迪丽看我心情。
还是把靠面挤下来？
他有说过，如果他玩牛仔的话，第一力就不用玩。
哦，这个我觉得你下这个站体还蛮大，因为最近一个 DZ 的表
Actually
现
saying
相
he's
当
not a
不错
bad DPS
那么接下来
either.
一个问题就是，
Potentially even knock
其
Dizzy
实
or
你
Calman
们
off.
上次打澳洲队的时候，因为那时候澳洲队真的蛮强的，他们9胜0败， 没有败绩，然后最后是由你们直接砍了他们一刀，赏了他们一败。那一场比赛的一个比数是3-2。那当然隔天发生一件事情，就是闪电狼对他们的时候3-0。你对这件事有什么看法？
So you just beat blank 3-2, and then next day Flash Wolves 3-0
我应
them.
该觉
How
得
do you feel?
应该是因为我们把他们破处了，所以把他们信心崩溃，闪电才有机会这么的轻松的完胜那种感觉。
He's saying because we beat
你
blank
觉得会不会
first,
是
blank
两
came
队
into
都
Flash
不
Wolves
约而
games.
同看到了澳洲
I
队的一
guess
个
with a lower morale that kind of
我
affected their
我自
ability
己
against
觉得我在旁观者，因为我们那天打满5张图嘛，所以其实是5张吗？对吧？5张嘛。然后其实澳洲队的目前他们属于他们的阵容大概就是那一套，所以其实他们的变化很少，所以其实我相信接下来台湾队伍要赢澳洲队是有机会，就是机会会更大。
等于说
He's saying
不一定就只有你们跟闪电
Blank
包含
haven't
可能
adapted
HG
very
或
well.
是
They've run the
HK
same
都
things
有
all the
机会
time, and
可以
they're becoming
对
predictable.
我自己是觉得都很有机会。
And
接下
Taiwanese
来这
teams
个
now
问题
have a
我想
really strong
两
chance
位
to
都是
actually
玩
take
安
down
娜
blank.
那其实对一般入门的玩家，安娜是一个我觉得非常忙的一个角色，因为他要补血，然后有的时候要丢一冠，有时候要撒对方粉，然后有的时候开大又会开错。这个奈米强化直接给那个露西欧，然后就在 rank 直接被大家喷掉，就喷到不敢玩。那对于就是一般玩家玩安娜，你们有什么样的一个建议？应该从哪边开始先着手，或者是把那个顺序可以去排一下？因
How
为
do you
安娜有时
decide
候
what
可
to
以
do on
补血
Anna? When do you
那
heal?
到
When
底
do
要
you
补血
damage?
先，还是攻击先，或者是撒一冠先？它到底有什么样的一个
是
方法
decision-making，
或者是
process
睡眠标？这边可以大家一些建议。
安娜，先说睡眠标好了，因为睡眠标的话，通常我自己在使用的话，我就不会太轻易的去使用它，就是例如对面莱茵可能利用他的 shift， 然后这时候我才会去用到我的睡眠标这种概念，就是列为被动，对。然后一冠的话，就是尽量可以在坦克碰撞的时候，然后砸到我方的坦克跟敌方的坦克，然后这样的效果会是最好的。
He wants to try and bio-nade both the enemy tank and his own tank at the same time, so he can keep himself
那
up.
两个技能 shift 跟 E 就是很重要，就是不能说你想用就用，就是都要扣好，等到你最危险的时候再用。因为我都很常扣一，扣到我们家亏鼻子说你一冠到底要不要丢？因为我都是属于就是我觉得安娜这个位置你死了就是整个队伍就爆，所以我几乎一冠就是会要撒的话，我都会站到我要撒的人旁边一起撒，就加我自己，这样子就是我自己就也比较安全。
对，
So
其实
he
还有
says
一
if
个
you
就
want
是
to
安娜
bio
的
nade,
一
you
个
want to be able to
走位
bio nade
或者
right
它的
next
位
to
置
some
其
guys
实
who
也是
hit
蛮
yourself
重
as
要
well.
的
You
因为
want
我
to be able
在
to manage your
一些比赛
cooldowns in a
或者
way
是
where
就常
they
会
have to be
发
quite
生被闪
impactful. You
光
can't
骚
just
扰
throw your
那
abilities
他
out.
有没有一些比较好的位置，或是跟谁站在一起会比较保险？
Who do you play with and who do you
这个
stand next to for
meta，
safety?
因为路西欧的补量增加了，然后范围变小，所以导致说，目前我认为就是面对刺客阵的时候，抱团走，就是跟在路西欧旁边，然后加上你自己的一冠，如果砸在地板下，加路西欧的大补的话，其实
He says
补血量是
usually
很
play
可
with the
怕的
Lucio. The Lucio passive healing works really well with bio nade for a burst heal on yourselves.
对，
好，那么就问两位最后一个问题，你们两个会不会彼此有心结？
有可能。
感觉好像有。
其实还好，因为我们其实虽然就是加入 AHQ 之后才认识，可是我觉得我们应该没有很难相处。
对，没有很不熟，就是大家都很好相处。因为我一开始也觉得他很难相处，然后但相处完之后就还好，所以就应该是心结是还好。
对啊，这个问题只是开玩笑，我希望你们
They only
轻松
first met
点
each other
感
on
觉
AHQ
像
and
你
they're
们
actually
认
pretty
真看待
friendly with
彼
each
此
other.
啊
I
谢
think
谢
the
两位
question
接受我们
was
的一个访问啊，
you
那么也
compete with each
请
other or not, but
粉丝们、
they're pretty
观
friendly.
众们，请继续支持 HQ。今天的访问告一个段落，谢谢两位，那我们下次见喽，拜拜。
And of course, they're just thanking the audience. Thank you for supporting AHQ. So there it is. The two support players, Eddie Boss, who we haven't seen since, what was it, like week 2?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he's been gone for quite some time now. Fun fact, he's actually the twin brother of Cowman. So
Really?
What, you didn't see
Oh,
that? They
no,
have
I
the,
guess
if you
not.
check their Liquipedias, they have the exact same birth date. And they're obviously, they're brothers as well. They've got the same surname, so they're just twins.
That's a fun fact.
So that is a fun fact. You got two members in the family on one team. And yeah, it was really interesting to see sort of how they sort of play. But day 3, week 5 now rounded up. We've had probably, I think this has been the most exciting week ever.
This is the best. This is fantastic. After the first week, I was thinking, oh, okay, predictable results, but look at the leaderboard. Everything is on its head right now. Almost a three-way tie at the top.
Well, we're going to finish things off by sort of just teasing next week's matches. We're going to start week 6, day 1, with Hong Kong Attitude versus Flash Wolves, and then Flash Wolves in their back-to-back will be taking on Sun Sister, and that is going to be happening next Friday night. But obviously, week 5 is now over. Day 3 is now over. I've been AVRL. This has been Smite. Thank you so much for joining us in the Overwatch Pacific Championship English broadcast, and we will see you on Friday.